Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are live and back at it again, folks. We are the Wrestling for Life Network. This is the Dirt Sheet Debates. We are going to get into some of the hottest topics in all of wrestling tonight. Lots to talk about, lots to get into, so much to go over with all the craziness in the wrestling world. Get in that chat, blow it up, let us know what you're thinking about. Maybe we'll debate something you're thinking. But, folks, it's going to be a fun one here on the channel. Strap in, strap on, grab your snacks, grab your feel good, and let's go. Ding, ding, ding. We are live and back at it again, folks. Like I said, we are the Wrestling for Life Network, and these two pretty faces and myself are going to run you through some of the hottest topics in wrestling right now. We got lots to talk about: free agent signings, pay-per-views, injuries, signings, returnees, a whole bunch of the other stuff. I think I said signings twice, but there's multiples. So we will get into all of it. Plus, we have all the excitement of the weekly shows that are still going on through this week. So make sure you get in that chat, click all the buttons, hit like, share, subscribe. I hope everyone out there is happy, healthy, and safe. But I'm going to take a minute to remind everybody, I am Mr. Evernight KJ White, the Iron Man of YouTube. That's Anthony. That's Nick.
You have us backwards again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its tag team trio stream champions of the world. The Every Night Delight, KJ White, the chapeau that runs the show, ringside Anthony, and I'm Big Nick. And so, my guy, do we want to start chronologically or reverse chronologically? Do we want to start from what's most happened recently to what happened furthest away?
We got lots to get into. I thought maybe we would start it off a little bit with some of the TNA talk. Anthony is here. So I thought we would at least tap on one of the biggest stories of the week. Not only does Joe Hendry show up at NXT, so do the Rascals. And Joe Hendry gets the pin in the main event. Anthony.
Yeah. The Rascals. Only thing I was disappointed about with the Rascals showing up on NXT was the MSK music, because I didn't know who MSK was. Right, I was looking forward to Rascals music, but other than that, like, the whole segment was very, very emotional. And I thought it might have been too early to say that the partnership with WWE is better than what AEW did. It's not too early, because as soon as Joe Hendry picked up the 3 count on NXT TV, I knew, like, they got something good coming with the WWE and TNA crossover. I don't mind that right now it's not showing the bigger stars on TNA just yet. I know that's coming. And the problem with the IWC is patience, right? So I know that's coming. As the TNA fan, I know that is coming down the line. So I'm excited. I've heard that Slammiversary, and I know we'll get into that a little later, but I heard that there's big movements for Slammiversary coming up. So there's a lot going on here. I'm looking forward to it.
Anthony, do you think that this is setting up, and I know we jumping the cart before the horse here, do you think that this is setting up Joe Hendry versus Ethan Page, TNA champion versus NXT champion?
That's a good question. I'm nervous to say it's setting that up, only because that this match at Slammiversary is an elimination match. And as strong as Moose has looked over the past 6 months, him being pinned early on in the match, to be eliminated, I don't know. I don't see it.
You heard it here first, folks. We have a non-believer. Shun the non-believer. Shun the non-believer.
I wonder if this means it's more likely that he doesn't win, and maybe it's Moose versus your champ, and then it's, even if you got Joe versus Ethan and it's not title for title.
Well, Anthony had a butt, so I'm going to let him finish.
My butt was that I think Joe Hendry was the last person to actually pin Moose one-on-one. So that could be a way for Joe Hendry to potentially win at Slammiversary.
I think we're getting Moose versus Oba, so I don't think Moose is going anywhere near Ethan Page, anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to have Joe Hendry in the match that involves Ethan Page, gets the pin, everything like that. It very much would lead you down that pipeline, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think the title position might be different. That's the only thing. I think like the matchups sound great. Joe, Ethan, Moose, Oba, but Moose is the one that still has the belt. But I mean, Moose has had that belt for a hot minute.
Oh yeah, you get this man out there singing his songs, clapping hands, 4 billion views, what have you, on YouTube when he shows up on NXT. If I'm TNA, I'm going to put the belt on my guy that WWE is going to keep using on their fucking television and is going to get all these big, huge reactions on social media.
Right.
No disrespect to Moose. I fear that man. Trust me. I never want to see Moose coming down me back alley at me. But,
no, I agree. There's nothing wrong with that statement.
No, not at all. I don't see Moose getting pinned until the end. I'd imagine he'd be hanging on to the end, but I could see him getting pinned for sure.
Well, Chris saying Hendry's main roster. So is this still just a hop, skip, and a jump in NXT? Because he said to Shawn Michaels, I can show up anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, I think they're going to do the NXT thing. I still think that super brawl that they trademarked might be their forbidden door.
Fair enough. Yeah, they're prohibited portal there. And I won't click on Chris's spoiler alert for TNA.
Yeah, I saw this. So, yeah, knew that was coming, I believe.
Yes,
but that being said, I mean, there recently this week came out, I can't remember Hebner's nephew or whatever, but TNA refs came out and where they were talking about the relationship between AEW and TNA and how the WWE relationship feels different. Joe Hendry coming in and getting a big win in a main event spot, that is different. Like, that is a good vibe. It feels like a little bit of, give and take, not just, hey, feed us your guys so we can, embarrass them.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even say of like Jordan Grace there wasn't an embarrassment or anything like that.
No.
But I get a bit of what you're saying of, even with the other three letters of, so they just go out there and do the JOB.
Yeah, and I've actually seen some things resurface from that AEW TNA crossover. I've started watching it on the TNA Plus app, but I haven't got that far to where I'm seeing some of these clips where a lot of the times it seems like Tony Khan on TNA television was talking down about TNA on TNA television in a joking manner, which was kind of weird to me. That's not how you build a relationship.
There's even been the talks of how New Japan hasn't always had the greatest relationship now that they've been working with Tony Khan. And there was even the whole tension and interesting discourse when Tanahashi was out there praising NXT's developmental system that WWE has.
Right. And even when Jordan Grace made the first open challenge and she mentioned every company but AEW in that official open challenge, and a lot of the fans took that as like a diss to AEW. And I'm not even going to hold you. I felt like that was a diss from Jordan Grace because it didn't go over well the first time.
No, not at all. I mean, again, and you want to feel like you're a part of something. You don't want to feel like you're just being steamrolled by the whole situation. And ultimately, there was moments where TNA had, or Impact at the time had, we got a little bit of a moment, but it all got taken away by the end.
Right. You even have Omega lose the Impact title to another AEW star in Christian. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
That's why I knew for a fact Naito was winning at Forbidden Door because New Japan had made it very publicly clear, especially when their wrestlers were even speaking about it, like Jeff Cobb, of fuck our title being over here. They're not using it. They're just trading it amongst their titles and everything like that. They have to have us compete and qualify to get a shot at our own title on their show.
Bobby, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, Bobby, in a moment. But yes. And I don't know if you were going to respond to that.
Oh no, I'm good, but he's definitely right. He's definitely right, though, because I think me and Nick, I think we talked about this like 3 streams straight about the New Japan and AEW relationship and how it was.
Because it was when we were building up to Forbidden Door and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I definitely agree with Nick, and I even said in our preview and predictions, like, New Japan needs to take their title back. Just take it back. It's doing nothing on AEW television.
Well,
Oh, not at all. I mean, it was a bit of a dead man's kind of, again, interesting decision, but it didn't seem to benefit anybody. So, I mean, Naito gets the belt back and we're good to go.
if I can segue into something that involves New Japan and surprise decisions and partnerships and everything like that.
Sure, why?
Well, we've got one Stephanie Vaquer that's, gone from being on Forbidden Door to now instantly released out of her dates from CMLL and New Japan. Then it comes out within the same day that she signs with WWE. And it's not, SRS or Meltzer says it. No, Shawn Michaels tweets out welcoming her to WWE.
Real quick, let them know, MDB. Everybody let TNA know. We weren't one of the, the special group. So,
yeah.
And again, we've been covering TNA from day one. So
we were the special group to WWE, but not the special group to TNA.
I love the people that are streaming it who are like, oh, and somebody's coming to the ring. Oh, yeah.
Hey, well, that's literally the only company you can say something, and that actually is a fucking wrestler's name.
Yeah, actually, right? Big something's in every match all of a sudden.
Exactly. These are world champ, they're cruiserweight champ, they're women's champ somehow, and they're tag champ.
Again.
Right. I mean, if I talk about it, I'm gonna go on a 20-minute rant, but I have seen videos where people are trying to like do a preview of the show, and all they can do is name the competitors in the match and not the storyline behind it. But we can move on.
That's Anthony said. You can have that. That even what I'm mad at.
I saw some streamers on Tuesday tripping over their tongues trying to figure out who the Rascals were. Friends of Wesley. Oh, good.
Yeah. Isn't that the guy that's dating Gigi Dolan?
Yeah, right. I think the white guy was here before. I don't know. Like, what the fuck? We'll get to that, but yes, to Nick's point, Stephanie Vaquer. Big topic in wrestling right now. We saw her on Forbidden Door, and man, I think we're going to get more of this. And I saw somebody post of like, yeah, WWE relying on AEW Dark and Forbidden Door to make their to be a good company. I was like, oh my God, help me.
I'm just surprised at how fast it went through. Like, I guess this may have been a week or so in advance or what have you. But literally, story broke that she was immediately released from CMLL. And New Japan wouldn't be having any more dates, anything like that. To talks with WWE and AEW to sign with WWE, all within what felt like 12 hours.
I guess from my understanding, from what I've seen online, that Stephanie's end goal was WWE, and she talked about her first tryout with WWE in 2018, and I think it was in Mexico, and how WWE paid for her to stay 2 extra days to see her family in Mexico, and how she was appreciative and felt like I don't want to use the term owed a debt, but she appreciated WWE for doing that. And then her ultimate goal from that moment on was to train and get better to go to WWE. So I don't think AEW was ever in the question for her. I think her main goal was WWE. I actually feel like AEW was the backup plan if she didn't get signed to WWE.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that with Tony Khan using so many talents that are coming in and out on shows that aren't signed or aren't committed to AEW is a risky endeavor, because the rumor is, and I can't confirm for sure, but Tony really wanted to get Stephanie locked into a contract, but you have a lot of eyes on your pay-per-view, and she shows up and kind of outperformed your big star. It does seem like a nice move, and I think that's why it happened so fast, Nick, was that they get it done. Like, there's no games here. We're not going to play the back and forth. We're not going to lose you like we've lost other talent. You want in, now's your chance. And like Anthony said, she has history there.
Oh yeah, 100%. You would want her in there, and like you said, between her and Mercedes, I'd take her. Definitely would have, especially after that match. And now, especially with you've got Julia coming over, you've already got the NXT women's roster that's there as is. You've got Stephanie Vaquer coming in. You've got now working relationships with the Knockouts division. Right now, all due disrespect, Tony Khan, you cannot say that you have a better women's division than NXT White and Gold right now. I would say that's the best women's division in pro wrestling.
Yeah. And you can't even say it off of the one moment that happened last night with Mariah May and Toni Storm. And I've seen a lot of people say that.
We
and
knew
I
that
always
was
go
happen.
back to where is Deonna Purrazzo? Like
Mhm.
that's
Back.
just
Thunder
where is
Rosa.
Deanna?
My
One of
guy.
the best women's wrestlers in the entire world. Where is she at?
Okay, we're gonna jump a little bit here, but I don't care. We're just gonna follow the flow of all this.
Oh yeah.
Now, I was surprised. I covered it live, and I was really surprised at how many people were shocked. Like, oh my God, it happened. Like, yeah, we were waiting. Like, my reaction was finally it happened as far as Mariah turning. You know, we were waiting for it.
I literally sat there and said it was part of my predictions for Forbidden Door and everything like that, because
Right.
we all saw the writings on this wall. Everybody that's out there grandstanding about how CAW does stories. Yes, it was a great story. We all knew it was fucking coming. We all knew it was happening, everything like that. It was still a great moment. It's hindered a bit because you did the same exact moment to an extent last week. So with MJF and Garcia. So
Yep.
I think that diminishes it. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
why just now it took finally she's challenging her for the belt, and that's what made her snap. Like we all knew this was coming. It's a hell of a visual. That visual was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a way to finally put a button on this. It's like you said, KJ, it's more finally than holy shit, oh my God, they did it. No, it's finally.
Right. I think RM took the words right out of my mouth. I think it was more shocking for how brutal it was. Like the turn wasn't shocking, but how brutal it was for women to be involved in that type of segment. I think that was the more shocking part. I think even my favorite part was when, like, after the initial attack and hit with the belt, you heard Toni Storm scream out Mariah. I think that was like hilarious, but I think that was more the shocking factor of it was the brutality.
Did you have something, sir?
I was looking at you.
Well, I know I was throwing up the time out there because
that's why I was looking at you.
The most brutal, most of women in AEW being in a match or a segment of this brutality. Let's see, we've got
he's
Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. We've had Bunny out there just gushing blood. We had Ruby Riott been out there gushing blood. We've had Tay Mello's been out there gushing 100%. This is nothing new to go to the extreme for women in AEW. It was a great segment. It's been a good story and everything like that. But to act like this to me was all just never going to happen. I can't believe they did it. We knew it was going to happen. And again, I think you diminished it because you did the exact same angle with two guys the week before.
True.
I didn't even consider that. And that's funny as hell, like to think of the back-to-back thing. And I mean, we had both tournament championship matches end in roll-up, both
and
bloody competitors or bloody situations.
The blood involved. Goddamn it.
Yeah. Now here, my one thing, I thought that once she started beating her with the shoe, Toni could have dropped a little bit of the over the top gimmick. Like she kind of kept going with like the I can't believe it's like, all right, you're getting hit
you
with
have a shoe getting dug into your head. Do you not feel that?
Right.
I guess she didn't watch out for the shoe then.
Yeah. And then that was more my issue was, okay, we've come this far and we didn't do the turn and we had all that stuff with Mina involved and it basically became, for 12-year-old boys to tune in and get their jollies because they were touching each other's boobs. And that's pretty much the extent of what was happening for a few weeks. Then she wins the tournament. So why not, take the next few weeks? We got like 7 weeks to get to Wembley. Why not take the next few weeks to have it where, because they're challenging each other or she's challenging for the title, the animosity builds. But they were just like, someone said it, they just kind of pop off prematurely.
As much as their audience did too as well. I thought you could have done it to where you had Mariah may accidentally cost Toni Storm, the championship, and that's where Mina wins it, and then you've got that whole back and forth. You've got a bit of a story there. You can build to the turn, because that's the thing, is the turn came out of nowhere. We knew it was going to happen, but it's literally just the second she won a qualifying match for it. Just fuck you, bitch. Not, now we can make sure you're protected as the championship, and you have that like little buddy shit of where the champion's paired up with the guy who's got the number one contendership and everything. But to instantly the second of just fuck this shit, I'm out, where it was a little random.
Yeah. But good moment overall. I mean, I thought it was entertaining, but again, nitpicky stuff as far as make a little sense. Like Damien here keeps the conversation going as far as, first time ever, and I'm excited for Wembley, which they've only had one other one, Damien. So let's be real.
I mean, he's the leader of the Hopian tribe, so I mean, still.
Right. There's a lot of build. Now, so far we basically have Swerve, Danielson, we have not Jamie, we have Mariah, Toni. Again, Bill, not a lot.
I think that they've more halfway backslid. Like, I don't like the Owen being the decider for an all-in match because I think they've kind of backslid themselves and cornered themselves on a lot of this shit and everything. And a lot of the other matches that we think are going to happen at All In. That's all it is we think they could possibly happen at All In.
Do you think Swerve? Go ahead, Anthony.
I was gonna say, and I'm not sure of the past Owen Hart tournaments, but do you think this was like? It was just about okay. So, do you think this was a response into WWE's King and Queen of the Ring getting the opportunity at SummerSlam?
I think it was all but stated by one Tony Khan that it was pretty much an exact response to, well, anything you can do, I can fuck up better.
Yeah, if not, it was highly coincidental. So we'll put it that way. Just like the footage of the Jack Perry CM Punk moment, coincidentally was planned just right. It just so happened Punk did an interview, right? So that's kind of the MO for some of Tony's antics. But do you believe that Danielson Swerve was the right decision?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I think they fucked up that whole tournament. I think honestly, you would have reshuffled people a little bit. You would have had Jarrett win the first round. He wouldn't have been in with the wild card. You could fuck around, add Hangman in wherever, all of that. Even if you do Hangman Danielson and that's his first round thing, what have you. That's the Elite still trying to get back at the BCC, whatever the fuck. Jarrett should have at least won a first round thing, and then you have the finals between him and Hangman in Calgary. And then you rip the heart out of everyone in fucking Calgary because you have Jeff Jarrett, you have him, the babyface. I'm doing this for Owen. I'm doing this for the hometown boy, and he eats a buckshot lariat and a buckshot lariat, and he just keeps getting up and a buckshot lariat, and then 1, 2, 3, Hangman, and then you get the fucking payoff between him, right, motherfucker face. But you get that, payoff of a match, a huge match, and a blood feud at this point, the closest that they've got to a blood feud in AEW of Swerve versus Hangman, and that's your main event versus Danielson's there because of farewell tour.
Well, I guess I'm not surprised that it was Danielson because if you remember, Nick, on our preview and prediction show, I mentioned it. I said I think Tony Khan, and this wasn't really my prediction because I didn't want Danielson to win, but I said I think Tony Khan is going to have Danielson to win for his farewell tour with AEW.
So when he won last night, All In.
Yeah, for All In. And when he won last night, I was not surprised at all because I was like, I felt like this was coming, even though I wanted someone different. I wanted maybe even we talked about it, Jeff Jarrett or Hangman Adam Page. So yeah, I wasn't actually kind of surprised that happened.
Yeah, my thought on it was the idea that if Jarrett was going to lose in the first round, don't do the emotional package for him. There was no point. It was a wasted TV time.
You fucked it up.
And it was something so cool. Like everybody reacted so positive.
I hate Jeff Jarrett, and I was cheering for the man to win the goddamn tournament.
You hear that, Keyshawn?
Right.
But no, I mean, again, so I thought that you said, and if Adam Page had returned straight heel, not like this in between, I'm mad at the bad guys, but I also don't like the good guys.
No, he has a reason to be mad at the Bucks, at the Elite.
Yeah, but it could come back and be an absolute prick. And I think it would have actually been better if the whole catch was they took the suspension off and they had buried the hatchet and he's joining their malarkey. But then you have that moment where in Calgary, this heartfelt Jeff Jarrett story, because you could have ran the promo 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, you played a video again.
Yeah. And then Adam Page stomps all over it and really solidifies him as a guy that's going to be on Team Elite for Blood and Guts.
You don't even have to deal with him being on Team Elite because he's already got Swerve. You take Swerve and Page and just fuck off out of Blood and Guts. Why are you putting your potentially your world champion in one of your most dangerous matches that normally always has someone leave injured months before or like a month or so before your biggest pay-per-view? Fuck are you doing? You already have an injury track record. Stop doing too much. You had a way that you could have had Swerve versus Hangman. That's your main event for All In. You can have the Bucks and the Okada and all of them. They bring out fucking Colt Cabana or whatever. Who gives a flying fuck? Something like that to be in there. But now, do you think that Danielson wins at All In?
Potentially. I mean, I heard Anthony's points, and it really kind of made me go, Originally, I thought, all right, Danielson comes in, loves to do a job for people. We will put a real huge shine on Swerve. It's going to be a really good match, but Danielson could win and hold the title.
Make it better than when he was going to lose to Ospreay, like everybody thought.
I still think that's your marquee match.
But how everyone thought he was going to lose to Ospreay at All In, and that's why everyone's like, "Don't, that's too early." Da 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 da. But if it's you're basically would be swapping out Ospreay with Danielson and doing the same thing, and everybody seems to think that that's okay.
No, you're definitely right. And I was one of the ones that said that the Swerve and Ospreay match happened too quickly. I felt like this should have happened at All In. And I think it all messed up with the tournament and him saying like this is going to be for the title at All In, which he was just trying to play face for WWE. So all of this was kind of screwed up. I think he's trying to capitalize on WWE's momentum with the King and Queen of the Ring, and this is the problem. You need to stick with your own company. You need to stick with your own storylines and try to build your company up and focus on the superstars there and not what WWE is doing.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. But that's comes he, comes ha when it comes to that company.
Right.
Now, the idea that, so then Ospreay MJF?
We want to get into this. Okay. So we're going to have this match ahead of All In, which, by the way, you have even Meltzer coming out there. And I know we love to bash on Meltzer, but he's even out there saying of how they're doing this. And they're doing that match and the Okada and Swerve match to pop the ratings because they're still working out this deal that everybody said was locked in. It was easy. Both sides were super happy. Then why is it still going on? So now we've got to really make sure we pop the ratings to try and cinch this deal in here. But I thought the ratings didn't matter, right? Nobody cares about those. Those are just funny numbers. So which is it?
I want to know.
Right.
No, absolutely. I mean, here's the deal is that, I mean, again, you look at last night's numbers, sub 700, and I know people hate talking about it, but to me, just comparing AEW to AEW, to me, that's the standard. And if you were 900,000 2 years ago, 800,000 last year, and then even more or less this year, then are you addressing it? What is the concern?
It seems like every time that there's a giant dip that everybody loses their mind and then it pops back up a little bit, but still not where it was before. And then everyone's like, oh, that's fine. Okay, see, we're back up until the next big drop. Like think about it. They've, within a year, gone from 1 million views to 680 is the average. What?
No, absolutely. I mean, we even argued about this in the in court, which you were right in your position where with CM Punk, when CM Punk was there, they were over 1 million. That man is a draw. And they brought Mercedes Moné in thinking that she was gonna pull similar numbers. That has not happened. Same with Ospreay. Something has to give. Something has to give.
But do you think that this, regardless of the ratings numbers and everything, of how do you feel, especially, I instantly went to the comparable of WCW Goldberg versus Hogan, WCW World Title live free on TV on Nitro from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia. You're giving away Ospreay versus MJF, which is one of your top tier main event marquee matchups for All In, and you're giving it away free on TV. So now you've got to tune in and sell the sequel.
Not even your all-in match. What if this is something where Daniel Garcia shows back up? It's MJF. Daniel Garcia.
No.
What if?
No. Shut up. Stop talking. Don't you put that out there. Don't you put that evil on me, KJ White.
Something to think about.
Oh,
No, that could
is.
be
It
the
is.
case. I guess going back to the original question of like them putting this on free TV, as long as I don't have to pay $50 to see it, I'm all right.
That.
You can have that.
No.
I'll keep my $50.
Again, as a wrestling fan, it's hard, especially because if you look back in the era where there was head-to-head battles for ratings, we got a lot of crazy shit, a lot of title changes, a lot of superstar presence because of the Monday Night Wars. We were getting shit that you shouldn't get on normal TV that we were getting. So I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. I do feel like this match is probably going to end in a squash or a time limit draw where they build now to the All In match. I think it's not so much that this match is happening. It's just like 2 weeks of a little banner and then let's get in the ring. Like we watched Punk and Drew build for months, and look at the excitement for this match with these two guys rarely interacting physically. Right. It's crazy.
It's amazing how to certain fans a good story is 2 weeks and the others it's 2 months, 2 years in the making and everything. Imagine that. TK desperate to put pay-per-view matches on TV. Well, he's desperate too to put TV matches on pay-per-view. So fucking figure it out, Tony.
Yeah. And one of the comments was that Darby's probably going to fight Jack Perry. Not true. Darby's going to join Team AEW. Darby did return, by the way, folks.
And took out Cutlass.
Took out Cutlass, of all people. Why was Cutlass's face painted? Does he do that?
That's his MO. He's just being like, he's like Joker Sting now. He's just taking over Sting's personality. I don't, bro, trying to figure out half this shit. Like, and I honestly think Dynamite last night was like one of its better shows of 2024. That's saying something, but there's still big logic gaps on the overarching aspect of everything.
Do you feel like if the Toni Storm moment didn't happen last night, people would still feel that way? Because I felt like there was a big uptick in, like, I didn't think it was a great Dynamite, and then the Toni Storm thing happened, and people were like, "This is amazing, best show ever," and I was like, "That was 4 minutes of 2 hours, guys." Like,
right.
I felt like there was a lot lacking on the show. I didn't particularly, I wasn't bouncing out of my seat last night. It was a good show. I gave it a 6, even with the Toni thing.
Oh, really? I thought it was, I wouldn't have gone maybe too terrible higher, but I still thought it was a good show. I agree with you that if you took the Toni, Mariah May stuff out at the end, it's an average. It's a C+ at best show. If even that, it'd probably be a C-. But yeah, it was still all right to me. I mean, we could talk about, driving forklifts and everything like that. But
yeah, it's on the list. So again, we're just following the yellow.
Well, we're still halfway. We're still. I'll say some names because we don't acknowledge the chat a ton here. But Cam, what up? Roman, what up? Geekbox, yo, the Wonder Trio of Wrestling is here. Good to see you guys. Sick as a dog at the moment, so actually been trying to sleep between doing bits at night instead of like a normal person. So he's Batbox instead of Geekbox.
Right. Go check out Geekbox. Spent like an hour on his page today, just watching.
Bro did a whole like 2-hour movie. Like he did the length of one of our streams just for people reacting to like the Wyatt Sick shit and everything. Right?
Yeah, no, man. The Geekbox is on the grind, folks. Our second favorite box on the planet. I get they explained Joe's absence. Oh, okay, so Joe has apparently been written off AEW TV. So we can go back and do Twisted Metal, which worth a watch, guys. I didn't mind it. Joe's going back to film, but my God, did they write him off TV in a horrible way?
Anthony, would you like to speak before I take up about probably 20 minutes?
No, go ahead and take up your 20 minutes because I don't even remember seeing this last night. So go ahead.
So, okay. I'm going to just sum it up in 3 scenes. Forklift driven by Jericho. Joe passed out on pallet on forklift. Drive into wall. Match over. Like, what the flying fuck?
We've seen so many huge spots in this company and nothing. They're fine. They come up. They got set on fire and got a pin. But Joe went through.
He won the match and got set on fire. But you go through a paper mache wall to where the forklift and the pallets taking the brunt of everything, and you might have gotten some fucking plaster dust in your face or whatever. But match over just to write this man off. And again, now, what do we do with Hook? What do we do with Shibata? We've now just everyone's lost in the Jericho vortex. And I found an interview
It's terrible.
earlier today that
Okay.
made my ears bleed. So on a recent episode of the McGuire on Wrestling podcast, by the way, I've got this on DAZN, DAZN.com. So this isn't, /Meltzer's driveway.com or anything like that. But the 53-year-old wrestler, talking about Chris Jericho, by the way, was asked if he had given any thought about to when he might hang up his boots, revealing that he is in no rush to call time on his illustrious career. Well, we fucking are, Chris. I'll know when it's time, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm still contributing at a high level. This man is delusional. This man needs mental help. He's insane. He's a harm to himself and society at this point. I can still have the best match on the show on any given night. What? Not every night, but any given night. On no nights is what he was trying to say there. On no nights. And I just really love what we're doing with AEW right now, of pushing me on fucking TV way too much. And then, he just goes on a whole delusional thing. I could keep reading the quote, but my heart and my cardiac doctor will not allow me to.
Yo, you need that gif of the little kid going, bullshit.
Right. Well, hello, motherfucker.
Anthony, you want to jump in on that at all? How you feeling?
This man is delusional. Like, people are literally chanting for you to retire. In what universe are you out there performing at a high standard every night or every other night?
He's the Hulk Hogan of AEW, my guy. He's always, it's been Jericho Hogan. He's wrestled more than 365 days because he was flying across international waters and shit.
Like, I don't know. That's just straight terrible. And then going back to the to the way they wrote Samoa Joe off, TNA has literally unalived people like better than what AEW.
There's a Frankenstein dating the woman right now on TNA.
Right? Happened.
Too fucking funny. No, I mean, and what makes me sad, and this is where I get perplexed about the whole scenario. Like, I feel like Joe should know better. That street fight sucked. And the whole street fight was to set up that forklift spot, which anybody that has half a brain watches that forklift spot and goes, well, that's stupid. It's like the last time I saw a spot like that, the shocker fell through the fucking wall.
That's what it was. He has to return as the Shockmaster. He just pops out to the other side of the wall with that fucking Stormtrooper helmet on.
Right? Like, shit. He's just falling through the wall. Like, again, and in a company where you see absolute chaos and it doesn't end a match. You had a guy on fire. Match continued. Man got pinned. You went through that and over. He dead. Cart him off.
Yeah, seriously. And you didn't even see the man. He disappeared. I need to go now. Twisted Metal needs me.
But that's Hook's been written off. Joe's been written off. So I don't know.
When did Hook get written off?
He got beat up last week, didn't he? Like Big Bill jumped him.
And wasn't the fireball thrown in his face?
In the fireball.
I missed the fireball.
Yeah,
so this man is a wizard who also knows how to drive and kill people with forklifts. He can throw a fireball or he can fuck you up with a forklift. Like I said, and this man is unhinged. He's delusional. He's lost touch with reality because he's out there saying I'll know, and the fans will let me know. Motherfucker, screaming it. I don't know if you just keep tuning up Judas so you can't hear people chanting, please retire. But my guy, hang it up. This man is a detriment and a fucking threat to society and himself. If he's out there throwing fireballs at people, he's out here taking out walls with forklifts. He's delusional. He's deranged. He's a lunatic. He's a madman. Lock him up.
Yeah, man. And before we beat this completely to death, last thing I'm going to say about it.
It needs to be beaten to death, thrown into the fucking ocean with cement waders on and fucking locks and chains, and be burned at the goddamn stake too at the same time.
I got tired of putting out weekly rants about the guy. Like, it really is taking the enjoyment out of the show. And I think my biggest takeaway from last night was there's so much talent. And let's just talk about straight up talent they have that they're not utilizing. For example, how much would your women's division benefit from the TV time Jericho took up last night? Imagine you had another match, a secondary storyline for your women instead of Jericho. Imagine that.
Imagine sensible booking, logical booking, especially when you have, such great minds as Christopher Daniels, Jeremy Lin, fucking Cassius Ohno. Grace, you can't even figure out who the fuck's in charge back there. Whether it's Tony Khan, Christopher Daniels, the Elite, who?
Okada.
I'm so sorry, bitches.
Right. What do you think? I mean, I don't know. That's my biggest beef. And I know Anthony and I have talked in the past. I know you two talked in the past about, like, you look at the Knockouts division, you look at NXT's women, how they're being booked. And anybody that can, with a straight face, say, oh, AEW is the best women's division, best women's wrestling we're getting in the world. Really, there's a fucking probably 10 companies off the top of my head book women better.
Absolutely. Fair enough.
Yeah. And with the Knockouts division, they're in the process of rebuilding, right? And they're still knocking it out the park with what they're doing with better than AEW. So yeah, I don't know where he gets this theory. He signed Mercedes and was like, we have the best women's division in the world.
Well, that's what Mercedes thinks.
Well, she's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, my guy.
Blasphemy.
And she said that in Calgary. Hey.
I applauded.
I've said she's an insufferable see you next Tuesday for a while, and it's just getting brought to daylight here. But speaking of bringing things to daylight, well, Geekbox, sorry, go ahead.
No,
I was going to read Geekbox's super chat. Sorry.
Yes. Go ahead.
Chris Jericho is literally let us save us Y2J character sink into his brain, so now he's believing that who he actually is.
Right. No, I think we need like a save us from Y2J campaign now. Like
he's now just the Y2J curse.
Fucking hell. Mercedes is a younger lady Jericho.
She's Monet Hogan. I mean,
Monet Hogan. Hulk Monet.
The women's division in AEW actually, if you looked at it on paper, because there's 5,700 people there is talent because of how many people they have and who they have and everything like that. Like, they have talent like Deonna Purrazzo, they have talent like Thunder Rosa, they have talent like Taya Valkyrie. They just don't fucking use any of them right now.
Yeah.
It's like having an all-star team, but you've got, your goalie playing center and your fucking, point guard playing center. And all. I said center twice. Fuck.
I think Taya Valkyrie, before we move on, Taya Valkyrie is the longest reigning Knockouts champion in history, right? She left TNA, she got unalived in TNA, which I think she got sucked into a black hole. That was pretty cool. And then she left to be somewhat, and this is no disrespect to Jade Cargill, and Jade Cargill was on her way out the door herself, but she left and got job to Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill wasn't the best of where she is now. And we haven't seen her since. Like, you have women that have talent that you're not using.
And I think that goes right back to where this whole discussion started. That's my issue with some of the stuff we are getting. Like, you could eliminate Jericho from your TV programming, and we could fill that with the women's division. We could get a solid Deonna Purrazzo versus Lady Frost, Deonna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie versus Thunder Rosa match. Like, these women that we never see are Tony, well, we only have so much TV time. Stop wasting the TV time.
No, because then we'll get a medical update on Daniel Garcia, or we've got to have, Daddy Magic or the Elite, or we've got to talk to Evil Uno or something, or we've got to hear from Excalibur. Like, this is the same man who has Ricky Starks just chilling on his roster. That's even said, right. I'm not hurt. I don't know why they're not fucking using me. And comes out there and says, I'd love to use Ricky Starks. Who the fuck is doing this then? Who's that heel?
Right? That's like saying, I'd like to drive my car. Well, it's yours. Get in it, motherfucker.
Right. We're on the highway.
Right.
Oh, shit. What do y'all think about the Bucks versus Acclaimed at All In? Exactly.
Indifferent. Tag team wrestling as a whole sucks in pro wrestling, honestly.
Right. Oh, we were actually talking about that yesterday or the day before. For those who don't know, next week will be the half-year awards, the 4 Lifeys, Golden KJs. We've put up the votes. If you haven't gone to our community center section yet, our community section yet,
We got a rec center.
You get the rec center. Vote on your picks for the 4 Lifeys. And the one thing we really were challenged with, how do you come up with a handful of good tag teams? It's tough. I mean, the Bucks haven't defended their titles in 100 days, but you know, people are really going, it's like Roman. It's not really the same as Roman because they're around. They just don't compete in tag team action. They're always in Anarchy in the Arena or something else.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're in multi-person matches. Christ, we were almost going to include a trio, which now it's almost a good thing we didn't because they're off the shelf too and going to be vacating the belts with the Bang Bang Gang because Jay White's injured again. Shocker there of someone's injured in AEW.
No, right. The only team that's really been like cooking over the past 6 months is the System. Like they're defending their title, the tag titles, almost every pay-per-view or monthly special, as they call them sometimes. So yeah, it's like how do you choose in a nomination for the tag teams?
It's tough. I mean, again, you said the System's cooking, they're being used pretty well. I mean, people talked about DIY, but they just got hot in July, and they're not even hot. They won a match, and that's it. They just simply won one match, and everyone kind of forgot that they've been sucking for months. Like it's really a quick turnaround. It really is.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Did either of you see the Acclaimed music video? And anyone
No.
contribute thoughts? No.
I have not seen it. I have heard indifferent reaction to it. More not great than good.
Right. But beyond that, I mean, overall, we're building towards All In. A lot of people have questions about where we're going to go. Next week, we're celebrating the 250th episode of Dynamite. So they're stacking it pretty hard.
Yeah, and we talked about that are they doing it to just kind of get a ratings bump because we need to lock in this media rights deal that we have heard for a couple months now was pretty much all set and done, and talks were going good. Everything was going great, but we're having it come out there from Meltzer, who's partial to their side, saying they're stacking this to try and bump the ratings.
My question is, like, when does the actual current deal expire? Like, we've been talking about this for months, and I haven't even seen anybody talk about when the current deal expires.
Is it the end of this year?
I want to. That's the thing. That's the first month that popped in my head was January, but I could be wrong with how many different media rights deals have been happening lately between WWE, etc.
Trying to see if I can find an answer real quick. But it'd be very interesting to see. I mean, if it is as smooth and hunky-dory as everybody says it is, why is it not done?
Yeah, what's the hang up here? Is it on a number? Is it on what's going where? Is it a hang up on how involved Warner is or anything like that? I think is it really just because the ratings have taken a dip?
At the end of 2024 is when the deal expires.
So yeah, so end of December, January 2025.
Okay.
It'd be very interesting. Do they end up on a streaming service?
Do they switch just strictly to Max? If we're just gonna, if Warner goes, well, here's where if you want to be WWE and go streaming like how they're going to Netflix, we put you on Max and then you can bleed and swear and flip the bird, but then how many people search you out then?
Right. And how many homes or the percentages, like I think Triple H has talked about it so many times that like 80% of the world will have WWE programming come January. So is HBO Max in that same predicament? I don't know.
And it's crazy because Netflix is all running off of 3 people's actual subscriptions, and everybody's just sharing passwords and links and everything like that.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think that they're in a difficult situation, and I'm surprised that, again, based on their internal reporting, that this isn't done. It isn't over with. It isn't set. But I guess time will tell. And I mean, the ratings aren't looking phenomenal as it stands now.
But they've popping in the demos to where they've even now trimming off the demos of its 18 to 49 to 18 to 34 or 35. I think I just made the demo for the last one that they were Meltzer was popping off for this past week. They're having to just trim down now the demos that they praise that they're getting into and everything.
Oh yeah, we were hot with 14-year-olds in Siberia, like
right, yeah.
The dumbest shit. If you read WrestleNomics article last year and believe the rumors that Tony wants from Warner is basically covering his operating costs, which I could imagine are substantial.
Yeah. He should get Big Bang Theory to do that since he relies on them so much. So I don't know.
That's the 4 pillars of AEW is Sheldon and the gang.
Sheldon Cooper of wrestling. AEW to Peacock whenever WWE. There you go. How funny would that be?
That would be crazy.
Shit. The last thing I'm gonna bring up, I think, about AEW, and then we can move on to some of the other stuff kicking around. Ishii staying for the summer. Anyone care?
The summer the Stone Pit Bulls, because no one wants to pay the shipping and handling to send his ass back.
You're just staying. We're not paying for your food.
Yeah, you just stuck. You just stuck until they come back around and pick your ass back up. You just stuck here now. No, I like Ishii. I don't want to shit on Ishii. I like New Japan wrestling. I like most of the New Japan wrestlers, but just the fucking way that they get used in AEW half the time is just beyond me. So we can see a lot more no chopping or a no selling of chopping.
Right. And no neck.
Yeah, the man without a neck. How do you pin him? It's like pinning Quasimodo. There's no real, like, where's his shoulder stop and his neck end or what have you? Like, where's the fucking anatomically correct version of this man?
Right. But I think that's the problem. Like, you're bringing in Ishii. Ishii's going to have matches. Ishii's going to take up TV time. And again, you have a lot of talent that's not getting TV time. How does Ishii help your programming? How does Ishii, what storyline is Ishii going to be in that you're like, holy shit, this is a barn burner. Did you hear that promo he cut? Like, it's not helping.
You could be out there having some stiff as shit matches. I mean, you let him go Takeshita or something like that and have more of a New Japan style match. I'd rather see Ishii on my TV than Jericho.
Fair.
I'll trade one for the other. I'm at least going to move up the ladder.
That's a fair statement.
Roderick Strong versus Dalton Castle this Saturday. Winner faces Mark Briscoe at Death Before Dishonor. I gotta add that to the calendar. I forgot it. But July 20th, I believe, or 19th. Interesting matchup. Ishii is like the Juggernaut without the suit, just naturally built that way.
And the strength.
I say
that as this man would fuck me up, but anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard to fight. It'd be like fighting a boulder.
You can't choke him out ever. Like, this man is unchokable. You can never win this man. Take out the Kata Hajime. He's built in a natural defense to it.
All right. I think on the list, we can talk about, we can address this in any direction, but CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest. How are we feeling about this? Have they done it right? Did this week help? Seth and CM Punk definitely have issues. Damian and Seth burying the hatchet. How are we feeling on this right now?
I actually am enjoying it. I think it's been some great television produced by WWE. having Seth Rollins and CM Punk go at it this past week on Monday Night Raw, I think a lot of what Seth Rollins said was like, truthful stuff, and to the core. But yeah, I think they're doing great with this. And I think what we have next week, like Drew and CM Punk potentially being there to agree on a match. And if they can act civil, Drew's suspension is up or something to that effect. I think they're doing this great. I think this is one of the best storylines going on right now on Monday Night Raw. It's like Monday Night Raw has that, and then you got Friday Night SmackDown with the Bloodline.
This has been another one of WWE storylines that they've done in 2024 that I feel you could do in the Attitude Era, and they'd still hit. They'd still be the same, if not like they're mirrors of stories from their everything. This is perfect for them and the way that they've executed it. I know people were mad of you had the cash in at Money in the Bank, and CM Punk instantly cost them for like the fourth time and everything. But at the same time, what else were you going to do? Somebody holds it for the next 7 months and you forget, and then people bitch just like they did with Damien. He's held it for so long. Yeah, speaking from experience, that he's held it for so long. When's he ever going to cash it in, etc., etc. There's so many other moving parts, and there's so many solidified storylines already with your world champions on the men's side. You capitalize it on your biggest moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard to argue. A lot of people are expecting some type of turn, whether it's Seth or Seth or Punk. More likely Seth, and possibly a triple threat, or possibly Seth being a special guest referee.
I don't think anyone needs to turn for this even to be a triple threat. I think they've all justifiably have their own positions of they fit the best, I think, on that spectrum of face versus heel of how you look at them and everything like that. To say Anthony CM Punk might be the heel a bit in this situation because he doesn't like CM Punk. But I like Drew's potentially the baby face and everything like that. Seth could be the baby face to you and everything. And there's all these different ways because they all have their intertwining and interconvoluted fucking relationships.
Yeah, I think if they did like a triple threat match or anything of that sort, like Nick said, I don't think they need a turn. I think everybody fans already have who they want, right?
Yeah.
You got some fans that want Seth Rollins, you got some fans that want CM Punk, some that want Drew. If you do a singles match, it's already split. You got your Drew fans, you got your CM Punk fans. So yeah, I don't think a turn needs to happen. I think this is perfect where it is.
Yeah, I mean, again, everyone kind of has their claim, and like I like that idea that everyone kind of has a favorite or a reason to have a favorite, and then ultimately you have everything's based on a grudge. Everyone has a viable reason. If you're willing to, if you're sympathetic to that cause, you go, yeah, Punk did get screwed. Oh yeah, Drew's been screwed around a lot. Poor Seth, the MVP of WrestleMania. It works. Like, I mean, it feels like it's absolutely cooking.
Now I will ask you this though, KJ, you specifically, because you and I have had this out about this man. Is Damian Priest the odd man out in this situation? Does he feel like the fourth man out of this whole situation? It not through any fault of his own, whether it be through botches and matches of other storylines taking over his matches, what have you. Is he the fourth out of these four?
In a sense, and I will say one of the interesting things I saw recently is what's the most memorable thing about Damian Priest's run? Well, Punk, cost beating up Drew for the Money in the Bank. Punk causing the title match. Punk showing up. Punk, Drew. So to an extent, yeah. Ultimately, I think they're building this Damian Gunther match, and I really think that his days are numbered regardless. Like I like Damian. I've campaigned for Damian, but I think no matter what direction he turns, he's fudged.
Is it a good title reign for him? Of, like you said, it's been a lot of you're dependent on other storylines that have gotten you wins and gotten you on your prove it matches. And yes, he has still had a good match with like Drew after when we thought he fucked up and probably fucked his whole knee and everything up. But has it been more of you've been a conduit for storylines and now you're about to be a conduit for another one with Gunther as champion?
I I think for me, I think one of the high spots of his reign was the first interaction he had with Drew McIntyre to lead up to their match at was it Clash? The
Mm.
initial first interaction, because I actually believe Damian Priest cooked Drew McIntyre on the mic. I think for me that was like one of the high spots of his reign. Has it been foreshadowed over the past couple of weeks because of this CM Punk Drew McIntyre now entering in with Seth Rollins? Uh Probably so, but I think over the next I think we got like 3 to 4 weeks until SummerSlam.
Mhm.
I think we'll kind of move past that and they're really will focus on Damian and Gunther leading to SummerSlam.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, the build. Again, I think they're taking in the right way with all of this. I thought you were going to say something, Nick, so I kind of
No, I was letting you go. I've said enough. I've been saying over everybody.
Punk can't wrestle more than 20 minutes without getting hurt. We'll find out. We'll find out. Again.
So you book a 19-minute match.
Right, go. Come on now.
Fucking go. Okay. You gotta run. Modern problems require modern solutions, folks.
Right. CM Punk and Seth at Bad Blood, not Drew.
No. Maybe that's where you do your fucking triple threat.
Triple threat Hell in a Cell. Let's go big. Let's
you
go.
You need to avenge Seth being the last time he was in a Hell in a Cell. He was out there in a red cell, fucking with a mallet towards the Fiend.
Yeah, not good.
Actually, no. It was Purple Titty. It was Purple Titty.
Oh, Purple Peck. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Have you heard of the Purple Peck conspiracy from KJ Anthony? This man was out here of it's makeup, it's fake, it's all you know. This man's gonna sweat. He's gonna start running.
They sprayed some purple on him, for sure. That was extra peck.
This man just got a bunch of fresh bruises before he went out there. Just had everybody beat him the shit up.
Purple Peck. It was the whole time. I'm like, nah. But yeah, apparently I was wrong.
Yeah, everyone forgets that, but wants to remember when I fuck up about Drew winning and everything.
Yeah, I'm not without my flaws. I'm not without my misses. Right? I just pick my bottles. Joe Hendry on WWE roster now. TNA Joe. Is there a fear now? I know we're kind of jumping back to where we began with this comment. Mm-hmm. Is there a fear that the best of the best will be poached out of TNA?
I saw someone say it best on Twitter. If TNA knows a lot of these guys are leaving, and I'm using Jordan Grace as an example because I actually did not know Jordan Grace's contract ends in January. That was not where I was going with the Ash by Elegance winning the match. They got 6 months. They got 6 months to try to scout some talent to build whatever division of people are leaving. So I don't really think it's a bad thing because people have to grow. People, especially with Jordan Grace and Joe Hendry, like they fit well in WWE. I'm sure they want more money than what TNA can offer, and WWE can do that. I don't see it as a bad thing. I think the bad thing comes out is if TNA can't rebuild, and we've seen TNA rebuild countless times in the past, and I think they can do it again.
Could you see WWE of, hey, we might not be using this guy, what have you? Like if this was the case of, say, revisionist history a little bit of, say, if it's a Dijak or anybody like that, of, hey, we're not going to keep him. Pretty much, here you go. Do you want him or anything like that? Not a little insider trading, what have you, or whatever, but pretty much letting, TNA know or introducing some younger talent that they have that they're not going to either use, they're still developing, what have you, introduce them on TNA and use TNA as respectfully the feeder system into NXT, into WWE, what have you.
Yeah, that's not a bad show. Sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Oh no, I was going to say the same thing. Like it's not a bad thing. I think that's good as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think there's maybe that understanding. To Anthony's point, the idea that whether they have this deal or not, they're probably going to lose a Jordan Grace. Why not put yourself in a position where you can benefit from it? From exposure, which we're seeing now, and also, like you said, Nick. Oh, well, you know what? We're not really, so-and-so's not really doing anything for us right now. Why don't you take him for 8 months? So now, yeah, we got Joe Hendry. Yeah, we got Jordan Grace, but maybe you got Karrion Kross and AOP for a while.
Yeah. Shit. Well, they're the fucking G League. This is goddamn TNA is about to be goddamn Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt and Moneyball with this. They're the goddamn Oakland A's out here. Just hopefully they don't, move to some, fucking high school baseball field in Calabasas or something like that. But yeah, no, they're 100% of. I could see like Brooks Jensen, who I think they fucked his whole storyline up on TNA or on NXT this week. I thought Jensen, Mullet, Most Malone.
That a little.
But I thought that he was going to end up being one of those guys that shows up in TNA and kind of uses that to reinvent himself, much like a lot of guys have done in TNA from WWE. Like Macklin's a prime example. Christ Perazzo's an example. And the Ziggler's becoming an example 100%. So Ash by Elegance is another example. So it can be that kind of, refresh ground. That's the ultimate one of you're even beyond the WWE product per se. So you're the true refresh.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like TNA is the refresh ground for a lot of folks. And I can see if this relationship continues to grow, I can potentially see like some of the lesser used talent in WWE switching over to TNA, being used over there. I think a lot of that is great. In terms of like some of the big guys leaving, like Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace, like who knows? Jordan Grace might just say January she wants to resign. I don't know. I do know she said in the past that she wants to win all of the championships in TNA, including the World Championship. So that's still kind of on her bucket list if she wants to do that. But yeah, I think wrestling as a whole is in a great place, and I feel like people use that like WWE is poaching TNA talent to fit their own narrative, and I don't see it like that. Like a lot of these big guys, like they got the exposure. Why don't we just go over there and see how it is,
Because we're not going to mention about how another 3-letter promotion poach talent. Like I said, Deonna Purrazzo jumping over, Christian jumping over, how you've had Ospreay jump over, Okada jump over, Jay White go over, all of that. Just saying, I mean, because that doesn't happen, right? Because 2 W's in front of everything bad, 1 W at the end good, right?
Goalpost moving, right?
Exactly. Well, I wish these fuckers would be Buffalo Bills fans because we could use some goalpost moving.
Yeah,
it's going to the right. Move it.
TNA finally looking for a big TV deal.
Yeah, I saw that a couple of times this week that the TNA is looking for a big TV deal. If they do, I hope they find something. And one of the things that was mentioned, they are hopeful to find something that will also allow them to show their product on TNA Plus as well. But yeah, I think TNA is trying to grow their audience, and I've said that since like the TNA WWE thing has started, that like they're trying to get people from WWE to go over and watch their product. So I think this is a whole growing year for TNA.
Absolutely. Or Invincible. I was reading this. If man's just coming out of left field, coming off the top rope with an elbow out of nowhere here.
I put this one aside because I wanted to address this one before we went anywhere. There's another one I want to talk about, but
go ahead.
It was a good one. I thought this was really good. But real quick, we already got that one. Just want to say thank you again for the super chat. But yeah, how do you guys feel about that comment by Invincible?
That Gunther and Roman Reigns, I'll concede that argument. That's a fucking uphill battle. That's the fucking battle of Waterloo that I don't really want to fucking fight right now. Saying Gunther's been shoved down our throats or whatever, which pause, but yet no, of just how about he's just fucking good. And think about it, this guy's been tucked away on NXT, was initially tucked away on NXT UK beforehand. This guy wasn't a guy that they instantly took and put what the winning Royal Rumbles, winning WrestleManias, fucking allegedly initially going to be retiring the Undertaker or anything. This guy was tucked away on NXT UK, came over just to NXT, and has grown through the groundswell of people realizing how good this motherfucker is. This man survived going from Walter to Gunther, to where the world was going to burn because this man was named Gunther because everyone was cheering for Walter.
No, I mean, it's been huge. And I think the idea that someone was shoved down our throat was that the fans weren't pining for it. Pause, I know. But the fans can't get enough of Gunther. Like, we're constantly asking, when's his next match? Who's he going to fight next? And every time they say Gunther Sheamus, Gunther Finn, Gunther, the first thing out of everyone's mouth, ooh, they're about to get beat up. Ooh, they're about to get whooped. So I don't think there's been any shoving. I think we've gracefully taken Gunther down our throat. And we shoved free.
You made that worse. You made that worse.
I know what I said, damn it. But and Reigns 100% shoved all the way, too much, too hard, too often. I'm not getting out of this alive.
Digatana, Digatana.
But with Roman, the same thing. Roman found his way. So the Paul Heyman era of Roman, look at it. Roman went away for a little while, and we're screaming, we want Roman all the time. So
Roman's came around. Gunther, to me, 100% was a guy that we got behind. That's really what it is. That's even been the crux of even when you and I have argued about the whole world title scene on Monday Night Raw. Of Gunther's the fucking like workaround that you always have to figure a way to get around because A, he's now set up to challenge for it, and we B, pretty much, figure that he's going to win it. Just my opinion, I'm not a fan. He's nothing charismatic.
Yeah, no, and we just first off, we welcome all opinions. So we don't mind your opinion. We might not agree with it as long as you keep it respectful. Shoot.
We're just gonna break it down.
Yeah. You're wrong. We're gonna try. But he's got nothing charismatic. I disagree, man.
Like I said, we're gonna at least try and convince you, but you can have that.
I mean,
your wrong opinion.
I can say, at least for Gunther's standpoint, like I rarely, out of all the negativity you see online with wrestlers, I rarely see people talk negatively about Gunther, and I feel like that's a good thing. Roman Reigns, I think that's arguable that he was shoved down our throats, for a bit, especially when he first started off with the big dog. But to KJ's point, everybody wanted this man gone. And since he's been gone, everybody wants him to come back. So,
right.
Gunther versus Lesnar would be lit. Well, that was the thing that was allegedly supposed to happen. He got caught up. Where was? Era Vince will saying, "I respect you guys." Just saying, Gunther never impressed me. He's a Triple H guy. But how everyone from Black and Gold at this point is a Triple H guy. DIY is a Triple H guy. You have Triple H girls and Triple H guys, and
to me, that's
you have Vince guys. You had Vince gals.
Regardless, to me, I think if you've seen some Walter matches or some Gunther matches, you have to be impressed. Like you have. And maybe I'm wrong, but like his matches bang regardless.
100%. And people are just terrified to say anything negative about him too, because he'll just show up in your dreams and chop you. And no one wants a Walter chop. No one. That's literally the stuff of nightmares. Freddy Krueger isn't fearful of a Walter chop. But no, I still remember watching Dub X Dub when it was Walter, Ilya, and T's and P's, the Bad Bones, who was in that. And it was Zyson three-way dance. And that's when I fell in love with a bit of especially that style of wrestling, and then Ilya and Walter right there. So that's why even Ilya's just the same as over. Like right now, think about it. We have people out on a fever pitch for Ilya versus Walter, but we're going to say Walter got shoved down our throats. What?
No, I think there's an appetite for it. Again, fucking terrible. Quick one here. A couple people mentioned in the chat, TNA looks like WWE tonight.
Well, I think they're in Philadelphia, so it's the same show that came on last week. They have the two Trons on the side and the tunnel in the middle. They've been using the tunnel and the Tron since Hard to Kill. So I don't.
Is it because WWE recently used the small tunnel and the small entranceway because of Toronto?
I think so, because like they've been using the small Tron in the tunnel since Hard to Kill. So nothing really, and they were in Philadelphia back in March, I think. So I don't think there's anything different there.
Yeah, so like I said, I think it's more of how WWE's been recently using the smaller entranceway and everything to fit more people into the arena.
Right.
Like CM Punk of, hey, there's people on this side of the camera.
Right. Gunther proves MJF's point, sell a headlock and an uppercut, and you don't need flips to shock value. Yeah, but then you have this gigantic human being that throws like a ridiculous drop kick. It looks killer. Absolutely murderous.
Gunther's amazing at being the ring general of it's really that old school, like Bruiser Brody fucking Mid-South type style of wrestling, like just technical wrestling. Like that's a perfect example of bringing up MJF, because I remember popping up when this man's hitting, a fucking collar and elbow tie up or a headlock takedown and everything like that. And that's how he's pinning Darby Allin to win a match.
Right? That's the way it should. I mean, it doesn't always have to be through, glass panes and from the ceiling, right?
Right.
Well, yeah, but to go that old school, like this man was just proving of like, if you make the match work and you use your psychology enough and everything and tell a good enough of a story, you don't need to, like you said, go through 72 glass panes and have to be literally stitched together or be set on fire and still get a pinfall for the match to be cool and get 5 stars.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
Did you guys have anything top of mind that you wanted to throw out there that we haven't checked off on the list yet? I still have Rhea. We haven't touched on Rhea, Tiffy, or Uncle Howdy plus Slammiversary if we want to quickly touch on that.
I was going to just ask overall consensus between us, y'all, the chat, everybody that can hear the sound of my voice. Which to you was the better show of the weekend? Was it Money in the Bank? Was it Heat Wave, or was it, and I guess a distant third, if I do even dare ask, Collision? But
listen,
right, which of the two was your favorite show? But yeah, for the sake of integrity, for Integrity Farms, I need to.
I guess for me, since I didn't see a lot of Heat Wave, I missed kind of the first hour, and I didn't go back to watch it, to be honest. And that's not a bad thing. I just haven't had time. It's been the craziest week. I have to go with Money in the Bank. I have to kind of go with Money in the Bank. But when I get the time to go back to watch the first hour, Heat Wave, that might change, because I've heard nothing but great things for the entirety of Heat Wave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I said it at the time, and I kind of graded a little bit on a scale, right? I expect more from Money in the Bank, but at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, I had rated Money in the Heat Wave slightly higher. Just as far as from start to finish being entertained, I think they did a better job. I think the matches banged. I think that Chase U match overachieved. Money in the Bank was fun, but the women's match was probably the best one. And then there was some other, I really liked the 6-man tag and the story they told. But then there was some other stuff, like you said, the men's Money in the Bank might have been a little underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the cash-in was good, but I think that one disappointed me a little more than you know what I mean? Like, I had points off on Money in the Bank more than Heat Wave by the end of the night.
Heat Wave to me wins this because there was, I think, a match or so that I missed on Money in the Bank. Obviously, when we're tagging out, pausing for the cause and everything like that. That
silly.
I'm not as upset that I missed versus come Heat Wave there to where you had Kalani and Soruka, the infamous, Alvarez and Meltzer match at this point. But yeah, Heat Wave really just kind of cooked. Now, I'll ask this as a caveat question and then we can move along. But did Heat Wave bring back any of that black and gold takeover nostalgia feel for either one of you?
From the parts I've seen of Heat Wave, there was a time when those NXT shows, those NXT takeovers, was better than anything WWE's main roster was producing at the time. So for that hour and a half, almost 2 hours that I've seen of Heat Wave, like, I was literally excited for the matches I saw. I think I saw the Chase U match. Obviously, I saw the main event and the women's championship match. All of them were great. Like I was really definitely into the Chase U match more than I thought I was ever going to be.
Yeah, right.
Just wait until you get to Oba of just throwing on Wesley, like what you do with like your stuffed animal when you're like trying to practice like the F5 and everything with that.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that old vibe. Two things were true: is like you used to get those pay-per-views, and you didn't know really what you were going to get, but every match was quality. There was rarely, in black and gold where it was a real snoozer of a match. Not all were perfect, but man, like if you had 5 matches on the card, they were going to bang, and that's what it felt like with this. And on top of that, what I really liked was the idea that, a lot of times you would have those matches where you weren't expecting much, or you didn't really know much about the competitors, or Chase U and Axiom, right? And Not Man and Robin. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, they over deliver, and I think that's the fun part about it.
100. Well, and especially though, like the tag match, like Anthony said it, you've said it as well. That tag match of between Not Man and Robin and Chase U, 100% didn't expect it to be the match that it was. Like that could still be arguably match of the night, which was then followed up by Roxanne Perez and Lola going at it, which even as much as we made fun of Lola being a terrible babyface, that was a hell of a match. And then the main event. And now there's been the controversy. There's been, the whole discussion of Ethan Page won the championship by accident, in the selling of the storyline of that, Sean Spears should have tried to break up the pinfall instead of pulling out Trick. But I think it's a hell of an ending. I think it's a way that kept everybody strong and got the results you needed.
Yeah, absolutely. That main event was highly some of the best wrestling I've seen in a while. That spot where Javon jumped over the turnbuckle, I like that. That kind of shocked me. And like you said,
the tope through the barricade.
Right. Everyone looked strong, even with Javon taking the pin, because you saw what he did when he came out on NXT this week. Like this man, I feel like he came out the womb ready to be a wrestler.
Just walked out. Didn't even come out, like literally walked out.
He just did he do the Vince McMahon strut coming out of the fucking room and everything with that? This man's dropping the people's elbow on the other eggs and everything like that in there.
Right.
He's like, he was trying to have a twin, and he's like, that don't work for me, brother.
Right. No one expected Ethan Page to win the title. Nick, who did you predict was going to win the title?
Ethan Page.
Anthony?
Ethan Page.
Ethan Page. So I guess some people expected it.
It was a little telltale and not the fucking video games. Yeah. Or the Hart.
Didn't expect how it was going to go down. That's
valid.
Yeah.
But I like that because, like I said, you keep Trick looking strong because he hits what should have been the finisher of the match. Page just falls back on Javon, who already looked like a star. That's the thing, is Javon Evans looks like he belongs in that main event scene faster than anybody I've seen. And Sean Spears, you can still sell it of now, like they kind of have on NXT this week. Of they're kind of paired up again. It's a little bit of Team Canada-ish. But yeah, you keep Trick looking strong. Sean Spears, you can say he was distracted. Javon was great in the match. Ethan Page gets the win. It was the right decision. No harm, no foul, a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, Adam was kind of reconvinced, very impressed by Chase U. I had a question pertaining to that, and it completely slipped my mind. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I like where they're building. I think they're building up to their next show or a Great American Bash, and it's looking like they got some ideas. The only thing I really criticized them on was Jensen.
Yeah, they fucked that man up. Sorry. I really like that man's story and everything like that, with how you weren't showing him being on screen, disrupting everything. You'd have to see it on a fucking Twitter, or literally there'd be a distraction in the middle of the match just because they're dragging him off. I thought he could have shown up on TNA as like the loose cannon of they don't want me, all of that. And instead, you have him in a sit down, not even with Sean, with Ava.
With Ava.
You turn around and then literally within like 20 minutes of this happening, he just on site just randomly fucks up Javon Evans. Why? Because I gotta, I guess. And then now we've thrown him back in with Briggs. It's you had something that felt halfway organic to where people literally weren't sure if this man had actually been released. We're sitting there checking on this man's well-being and everything, which comes he, comes ha. I mean, do you go too far? But it's you're selling kayfabe and wrestling. But 100% of you had this feeling believable and feeling authentic. And the second you do this with it, you just shadow over everything you did.
A little bit.
No, they did a lot of it. Fuck a little bit. They did a lot of it.
Yeah, I think they did have like a lot of people. I was even intrigued that he might even show up on, TNA, and how they've kind of been portraying it over the past couple of weeks. And just to see that how it went down on NXT this week, I don't know if it was for the right decision, but I don't know. We'll see how
here, as much as we pay attention to the fucking dirt sheets, the Fightfuls, the Meltzers, all of that, this source, that source, whoever you go to as your reliable source, which I'd be surprised if it's us because we're semi-reliable at best. But
we're very reliable.
Yeah. I'm just not writing checks my ass can't cash, my guy. I've been on a history of bouncing checks. So
because if we're catching checks, you make sure it won't bounce. Trust me.
Exactly. Well, I'm bouncing them like I'm in the dunk contest trying to just pass it to you, motherfucker.
Right.
But yeah, they really could have just let this be an organic thing and not fucked with it too much. And honest question, how many people here, as much as we pay attention to the dirt sheets, thought he was actually released? Until we sat there and had to dig a layer or two deeper to make sure he didn't slip through on a fucking PWI article or something like that, or a fucking Fightful tweet or anything.
I guess I don't pay attention that much because I never thought he was released. I actually have never seen that. So I guess I just don't pay attention that much.
Yeah,
you didn't think that was any part of the story, that he was just gainfully employed and just still pissed off?
That's what I thought. I thought it was building to, especially when he said like in the first attack that he was gonna make an impact. I thought he was moving to TNA, like he was gonna show up on TNA.
Because he would have not been employed by WWE at that time.
It never crossed my mind that like he was released. I don't know. I guess I kind of, and I mentioned this on Saturday in the chat, like I tried not to pay attention to a lot of the dirt sheets because I didn't even know like Triple H made a video about, surprises happening at Money in the Bank. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But go ahead, finish. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm done.
No, I think that when it first happened, I saw the original reports and I thought, oh, makes sense. They're not using him. I get it. Like, the guy with, nose Malone, as we called him. Like, yeah, okay, bye. But
nose turned into ghost.
And then I know you said before, like it might have got a little too intense, but I like that they're using social media to build up these stories. I like that they're pushing the envelope. I like they're making it real and having people like, is he really crazy? Like for all the people who are like, wrestling's bullshit. And then they're the same people who are like, man, this is so real. Is he okay? Have we checked on him? Like, this is too real. It's freaking me out. You're like, y'all established what we're dealing with.
Yes. But so here's the thing. Back when that was a thing, you would have had to pay like $20 or something to sit there and make a collect phone call to check on somebody, and God knows who the fuck where. Now, unless you're proposing to Alexa Bliss, you ain't doing that in 2024. But you can do that in 2024 if you can just instantly, at the click of a button, at any time and anywhere, try and reach out to somebody here. So 100%, I think it's you would have a lot more wellness checks and everything. Like, think about in the Attitude Era when Pillman's got a gun and Stone Cold shows up and everything, and it cuts off and everything. You would have had to dial 1-800 to collect to sit there and try and figure out where in Cincinnati Brian Pillman lived and to sit there and try and call to make sure Austin was okay. Now you can just Google that shit and just blow up his fucking phone bill.
But there was times where the cops got called on certain situations and such too, right? Like where people were so into it, they were calling 911. Like
that was the NWO, and that was Hogan with yeah,
the man on the roof of a car.
Lawn dart.
Right. So yeah, no, definitely interesting. I was curious about this one. Setting up a Jamie Hayter return at All In. I don't necessarily know how that connects. Like, how did
that is just spinning the tires and spinning the wheel because, well, there's been more talk about Jamie Hayter potentially coming back, which, as a Jamie Hayter fan, as a Jamie Hayter was ride or die on this channel, I feel like it's been almost damn near 2 years. Like, I feel like I've watched Odyssey Jones wrestle sooner than I have Jamie Hayter. So now it's getting to the point of, we're like, oh, well, she could come back, of she could be in this match, of she might be there at All In. That's great. This is really one of those, if I won't believe it until I see it, because this is now going on what feels like 2 years of her being on the sidelines. It was last All In. She was she even there, or did she miss that too?
I think, is that not where she lost?
So even then, so she would have been a full year. So
yeah,
full year.
Mariah, right?
Soraya, yeah. Soraya.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's interesting. We'll see. I mean, again, maybe that's the big ploy, but you're still going to have the Mariah May match first. Then what? She beats Mariah May, and out comes Hayter. Bye-bye, Mariah. Go onto the shelf with the other ladies.
But again, so we just have Jamie Hayter just walk into whatever storyline, not continuing anything from before, which we can still talk about the sacrifices that needed to be made of, the Undisputed Kingdom is no more for MJF's heel turn. But yeah.
Anthony, Nick, and KJ could be on the commutators. What is
Teenage Mutant Community.
I think he's trying to Teenage Mutant. I don't know.
Communicators in a half show. KJ Power.
We are just commentators.
And struggle on that.
All right, we'll get close to packing this one in, but a couple more. Oh, that's a nice comment. You can grab that.
Yes, I like this from Geekbox. You get a start. You guys may not be the dirt sheets, but you look at the big picture, break down both sides, and figure the potential outcomes of each scenario, which is awesome. Yes, that's why we're the three-headed monster out here. We're like fucking King Ghidorah out here.
There you go. No, we appreciate Geekbox, and that's what we try to be. We're the wrestling utopia. We don't kick people out for disagreeing with us. We've actually converted a good amount of people who started off like came in the chat,
like saying it's like we're a cult. Shumana Haya, Shumana Honda. The power wrestling compels you. The power wrestling compels you.
We've settled down a few. There's been several people who are, friends.
We got Jesus on our sides, motherfucker.
All right, may the blood be with you.
Right.
Potential cash in at SummerSlam.
Oh.
Out of all the things that us wrestling fans try to predict, that is one thing I don't like to predict because I want to be totally surprised.
Either does Nick.
A lot of the times when I do my prediction videos,
I just get it wrong.
A lot of the times when I do my prediction videos after the Money in the Bank, pay-per-view happens, people are asking like, when do you think it's going to happen? I'm always saying I don't predict that because I want to be totally surprised. So I have no prediction for Money in the Bank cash in at SummerSlam.
Fair enough.
I'll say yes, because then you set up two feuds. You've got her going with Bailey, and you've also got her going with Nia. So she's got to dodge, high and low here a little bit. And I still think of how long does the partnership between Nia and Tiffany last before it either runs stale or it runs to where they get to an impasse. So could this be one of those, be better to be quick on the trigger than late on the draw?
Get there quick before people kind of go.
Get there before it gets dry. Pause.
Fair enough. All right.
And that's not at all because I'm a Tiffany fan. I would love to see her, and I think you probably said it the best. I think initially of either way, even if she didn't win the briefcase, well, especially now that she won the briefcase, of Natalya just beats the bejesus, beats the tar piss and leather out of Bayley, and then somehow manages to lose, and then Tiffany just rolls in to pick the bones clean here and to just roll up Bayley and get a 1, 2, 3. Or she's sitting there, Bayley's just looking up at the lights, boom, prettiest moonsault, 1, 2, 3, Bob's your uncle, we're out of here.
Sounds pretty possible.
Yeah.
That sounds really plausible. And again, Nia's a good, the perfect woman to inflict that much damage where, Tiffany running out is the perfect picking of the bones. Digs her in the heel.
How does Nia deliver that much damage and then still lose?
Roll-ups are a thing, my guy.
The most devastating move in pro wrestling.
Right? Roll-ups are a thing. She goes for the bonsai drop, and it turns into a power bomb roll-up, and here we go.
If you power bombing her from fucking that low, my guy. Oh,
well, that last bonsai drop we saw from Nia was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Her on Lyra. When are you gonna get hurt real bad?
That was insane. I didn't even think like how people talk about her being, injury prone, injuring people. Like I didn't even think in that moment about Lyra. I was like, this is the coolest moment in the world.
No, that's funny as hell. Do we want to quickly touch on Rhea Ripley?
Consequences. Dom, this is the consequences for your actions. You must reap what you sow. You fell hook, line, and sinker into that Venus flytrap. And I chose my words carefully with calling it a Venus flytrap.
He's innocent, guys.
And I was caught up.
He's innocent, bro. It wasn't me.
But she caught me on the canvas. Wasn't me. She said I did it once over. Wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
She even caught me in the shower. Wasn't me.
I fully expect Dominic Mysterio to turn on Rhea Ripley, allowing Liv to retain the title. I feel like this is where this has been heading. But man, what a pop. And you see, like, they're already posting, like, I don't know what it was, something ridiculous. Millions and millions and millions of views. What was it, like 95 million or something stupid overnight on the Rhea Ripley return?
Right.
Like,
yeah,
mommy's back.
And I think a lot of people pointed this out, which I didn't even think about, because like Rhea Ripley was back. That Liv Morgan was the one to hand Dominic Mysterio the victory over his father.
Yo.
And I'm like, okay, this is getting really good. And what really came to my mind, and this is like a quote I've seen from a TV show, but in Grey's Anatomy, there was a scene where Meredith Grey was basically begging Derek to choose her. And I'm like, this is where it's going to go. It's going to go with Liv begging Dominic to choose her. And that's what's going to happen.
Would you lay here?
Would you lie with me and just look at the world?
I'm not gonna lie, Nick's face when you said Grey's Anatomy, Nick's face popped me. Like, oh, here we go.
Some shit I know nothing about. You can have.
No, but I see what you're saying completely in the sense that I don't know you do too, man. But it's they're playing it like a soap.
Yeah.
They're playing it perfect, man. Like the back and forth, and I'm saying it. Maybe that's the next trial, the trial of Dom, guilty or innocent of any wrong.
Right.
Fair enough, but and I will say this: this has been a to an extent of we knew. I don't know. I didn't touch nothing. What happened?
Who broke it? It.
I didn't broke it in nothing. I didn't even touch nothing. But how you could say this was a storyline we saw coming down at some point here, much like we saw with Mariah May and Toni Storm here. But this has the whole inclusion of lives very much. I saw the video that I even sent in a group chat to where she's backstage there of laughing of Dom having to chase Rhea and everything like that because she realizes the trap that she set here. Meanwhile, Dom, you got some explaining to do. This is very much going into that, Mamacita, Eddie Guerrero, China whole situation.
Innocent, my guy. He was seduced and manipulated. He's a victim here, Nick. He's a victim.
Of what? Being dumb?
Yeah, because I would have given in the first 10 seconds of this feud. It wouldn't have been at all. The story over. It would have been just the fucking car driving away. Would have been the end of the fucking whole feud.
Yeah. Weakness. Weak man.
The strongest man I know, Dom Mysterio. It must be the mullet that gives him extra strength. I don't know what it is.
Right.
The days of our lives. But yeah, no, it's good to see Rhea back, obviously setting up that match. And that's pretty much everything. I don't know. Do we want to circle back and maybe just talk about what is on Slammiversary now? Oh, by the way, folks, we are 2 away from 5.3K. So be a friend, tell a friend, get us over that milestone. But we're about to hit 5.3K subscribers. And remember, we're back tomorrow and all week long with all your favorite wrestling. And we cover more of it than anybody else.
Yeah.
Slammiversary.
You want me to run through the card here?
Yep. And maybe talk a little. We can probably throw out a little bit of what's brewing right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will run through the card and then we can discuss. As I've got AJ Francis versus PCO defending the TNA Digital Media Championship and the Canadian International Heavyweight Championship. That's a made-up title, right? That's a made-up title. That's got to be a made-up title. Did you make up that title, KJ? Is that your title?
It might be. Should be.
Canadian International Heavyweight Champion of the world.
Let's go.
So who do we have?
All I remember is the Canadian Championship of the world.
AJ Francis versus PCO.
Yes, that's right. Anthony?
I think I got AJ Francis. As much as I love PCO, I think AJ Francis. Now, wait. Thinking about it.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
They are in PCO's hometown, Montreal. So maybe PCO pulls out the victory.
Oh, no, I can't do it. I keep going against people in their hometown. So I love PCO, Canadian Frankenstein. It's so hard to bet against the guy. But yeah, I think they found something with AJ Francis in TNA, which I know a lot of people who only remember Top Dollar are thinking like, are you guys crazy? But I think he's found a groove a little bit in TNA.
Absolutely.
I agree with that, and I still would be interesting. I still want to try and get this man on the channel for an interview, but I still halfway feel like there might be some heat. But yeah, I would take AJ Francis to win this match. Of all due respect to PCO, it's starting to run a little bit thin, my guy. It's starting to maybe GCWs and etc. might be more where you get over with doing the PCO gimmick a little bit. To me, I don't need him being as a champion anymore. It's nice, it's crazy that he's still doing this, but the PCO thing's been a PCO thing for like a decade now.
Forever.
Let the poor man rest. Quit revitalizing this man. Quit hooking him up to that Duracell battery.
They got to him every time. He don't want to quit. They keep just lighting them up and sending them back.
Who quits first, PCO or Chris Jericho? If one of the Quebecers is out here having better matches than Chris Jericho, what the fuck are we doing in 2024 wrestling?
If Jericho could wrestle like PCO, we wouldn't complain about Jericho. Period. And you know what? An outlandish gimmick that's over his shit, by the way. That's how you do it, Jericho.
Exactly, motherfucker.
Right.
No.
What? What's next?
The militia. Anyone else just cringe when I said that? Just me?
No.
No. Okay. The militia of Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich taking on Spitfire, Danny Luna, and Jody Threat for the TNA Knockouts Women's World Tag Team Championships. Talk about this.
Really feel like it's gonna be Danny Luna and Jody Threat, Spitfire.
Oh.
They've been going through these tests to get back to the Knockouts World Tag Team Championships. I feel like it, and then they had a stellar match last week, 10-minute match, last week on Impact. I feel like this is when they get those titles back. They've never had their rematch, and this is their rematch from losing, I think, at Sacrifice. So this is it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this has been going on for a hot minute between these two, and kind of having the mix of Havoc in there at one point.
Yeah.
Not Havoc. Who am I thinking of? Havoc and
Decay, with
they were in it for a
Rosemary
minute.
and Jessica Havoc.
Yeah, but now, yeah, I think Militia wasn't supposed to last that long. It really wasn't.
I thought they were gonna lose at the last pay-per-view, Under Siege. I had them losing, or I think it was Against All Odds. I had them losing, but yeah, they won. So I think Slammiversary is when they lose.
Yeah, I just say this respectfully, and you just take Alicia Edwards and Rebby Hardy, and you put them as a tag team, and just push them over there. Why don't we just take Bikini Bottom and push it over there? Yeah.
Right.
Though this to me, I'm fucking torn because I want Masha Slamovich to win, but Danny Luna and Jody Threat I've been a fan of. I'm a big fan of Danny Luna, so Spitfire needs the tag team titles.
All in agreement then. Fine.
You have that.
You're gonna have that. We're all on the same page. And we did pass our mark. So 5.3.
Hey.
Wait.
Oh, we got 2 seconds of the child pop, and then it all went silent. We're really glad that you're our friends. And this is but we've got Mustafa Ali versus Mike Bailey for the TNA X Division Championship.
I'm assuming if not Mustafa Ali, Mike Bailey won the tournament, not the tournament, but the number one contendership match tonight. This was the match they took away and then was like, you need to earn it. I'm assuming if he won tonight.
Wikipedia, sir. So don't be mad at me, be mad at the Wikipedia overlords.
Spoiler alert.
I'm thinking it's going to be Mike Bailey. I think this is the moment Mustafa Ali lose. I think, because he's already been exposed as like this bad politician. He doesn't care about the X Division. He doesn't care about the X Division title. Mike Bailey is the reverse and cares everything about the X Division. I think this is Mike Bailey's moment.
Mike Bailey needs a moment, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like for a guy who wrestles as much as Mike Bailey does, he doesn't have a whole lot of. I know he's had the X Division before, but like he hasn't had a lot. He's not really a belt guy. He's just like,
right.
Well, because he's a very much of a just how can I be on every show 7 times on the same card guy. There's even still the talk of now. I don't know fully, Anthony. You might know better than I. Of how close his contract status up is and everything, because I've heard AEW's breathing hot and heavy with trying to get Mike Bailey on their roster.
His contract expires actually at the end of the year, but he has came out and said himself that he would like to re-sign with TNA. He is happy with TNA.
And I would like to, I was going to say there's been how many athletes that said I would like to, but it just so happened that this other team offered me a whole lot more fucking money. So I would have really liked to, but they didn't offer the same that they did.
Mike Bailey doesn't give me the impression that he's out for money, though, because he's on 72 different shows at one time.
Valid.
So Mike Bailey doesn't give me that impression. Now, could it happen? Absolutely, but I think Mike Bailey stays with TNA.
He could, and I mean, again, I think the caveat to all this now is, oh, I could stay in TNA and maybe I do get a little bit of exposure or time with WWE, but I'm still got my home base where I'm the bigger fish in a smaller pond. But I mean, that caveat of WWE helps in a big way.
Oh, 100% of that. That would be insane to start to think about. And I know this is starting to go back to NXT Black and Gold to pick the bones of the indies a little bit. Of if you had a Mike Bailey that shows up in NXT, as you've also got a Julia and maybe a Jordan Grace and a Stephanie Vaquer and everything, of we might be kind of getting closer and closer to repeating history of this is your new Black and Gold era, of this is the super indie.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we get the potential, which actually, I think I know where you stand on this, Anthony, but I will still ask you of the rumors about Motor City Machine Guns signing with WWE.
Where are they?
That's gotten more and more attraction. So,
well, yeah, I've said it like the past couple of months when they left TNA. And the rumors were hot about them going to AEW, and I think some rumors said they had already signed. We know Tony Khan, as soon as someone is hot and ready to go, he's going to put them on television. And I immediately said, like, I don't think they're going to AEW. And I've always said, I think they're either TNA bound again or going to WWE. I'm still stuck on my guns of them going to WWE.
I think so. I think it's best for business. And they could return to TNA and again still have that access. There's other ways to
right.
Right?
Where, when, and how though do they show up in NXT then?
Could you put them straight into the main? Like, could they show up on a SmackDown?
I don't see why not.
MCMG DIY kind of idea. And
Right.
here's the guy trying to reignite the tag team division, as we established. Tag team wrestling's at an all-time. Yeah, I mean, that's my thought. Could you bring them right into the fold?
I feel like you can. I feel like it's just the internet rumors and trolls that say they're going to NXT. But I feel like if you're gonna put one tag team right on the main event scene, I think it has to be Motor City Machine Guns.
Are they the only tag team out there that maybe outside of, if you brought back in like an FTR or something, that would hold the caveat that, or the Hardy Brothers or anything that, because think about it, Motor City Machine Guns has never been on WWE television, anything like that. So for them to throw it out on a SmackDown that everyone's going to know who they are, or unless they just pop because it's a surprise and then we'll fucking figure it out after the fact. I think they would be one that could actually survive. Like, you would get a genuine pop because it's Motor City Machine Guns showing up there. But so then you have them go after DIY that just won the titles, babyface on babyface. Like, it would be really interesting for Motor City to be there. Oh, like in WWE at all. It's just now, how would you make it fit?
Like JD is an option as well, potentially. I just think that because I understand why like a Joe Hendry or somebody would go into NXT, just kind of build it up. I think for me, because the tag team division is a little bit weak, you have an opportunity there. And I think if you did what you did with like Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga and some of the other people that we've seen come in, where we know if you've never heard of Jacob Fatu, you know why he's a badass by now. They've sold you on him.
But do we get JOD that challenges DIY for the tag belts now and everything like that? If you get a heel versus babyface, kind of you run it that way?
Yeah, maybe.
Anthony.
I mean, that could potentially happen. Absolutely. I don't think I have any kind of disagreement there.
There you go.
What a time to be alive, AJ, Nick, and Anthony. Well, I think we have covered quite a bit. Anything else on your wrestling mind there, gentlemen?
Well, don't ask me. I'll try and find something.
Dig something up.
No,
I'd just be like, so did you hear about the bipping and the bopping and the bipping and the booping?
no, I think we covered a lot tonight from AEW, WWE, and TNA. Might have hit a little bit of indie wrestling as well.
Right. But yeah, no, I mean, a lot going on in wrestling. I feel like we could talk for the next 2 hours. Hey, Nick, and keep rolling along. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot going on. We're back tomorrow for SmackDown. And we're right through. Slammiversary's coming up. Death Before Dishonor is coming up. I think that's the one. We got All In. We got SummerSlam. We got a lot of it. What are you giggling about over there? What do you want to?
Because we haven't talked about Bo Dallas showing up in Adam Pearce's locker room.
Bo Dallas we hadn't talked about. There was one other one, but it's awesome. How about
Catching fire?
It's good. I was a little worried that you needed a little more from them, and I feel like this Monday they stepped it up.
It felt like it got back towards reality and everything like that, to where you showed a little bit of the people behind the mask and everything like that, and to where you have him there with in Adam Pearce's locker room, and especially you kind of had them kind of really start to do that, like Edward Norton, Brad Pitt Fight Club shit, to where they sit there and form back and forth and end up becoming the same person there a little bit of. It really showed of this was just Bo talking within his own head inside the Firefly and everything like that.
I think all I kind of want to say with Bo Dallas showing up in the office, I know Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt are brothers, but for an instant, when that door opened, I don't know why I thought Bray Wyatt was sitting there. It looked just like Bray Wyatt.
I was there during the VHS tape. I got little chills and sat there and said it on stream. I was like, it literally caught me up, because I was like, this man looks exactly like. I was like, that's Bray there. Like that's just Bray. That's footage of Bray.
Right.
Gable versus Howdy at SummerSlam. Potentially.
Perhaps.
The Creeds line with Gable after he loses to Howdy. But if they join him during, they're going to get beat up too.
Well, do we think that we're going to get a Howdy match soon?
SummerSlam could be the first time.
And what would that match be?
Potentially Gable. I think
Gable versus Howdy, just straight up.
That's the only direction they're going in. So now.
Or maybe like three of the Wyatt.
It's got to be a gauntlet match. If he's got to,
beat them all.
Survive his. I want to play a game. It's just Saw and pro wrestling.
Maybe it's a 6-man tag, and he has to go find friends, and that's how he ends up with.
There you go. Nikki Cross versus Ivy Nile.
Maybe. I'm down. But thank you so much for the super chats. No, simply I think it's unbelievable, and looking forward to it, man. I think it's gonna be really good. So I hope this continues. Now. What's that?
I said I'll stop giggling now.
But yeah, next Thursday, the 4 Lifeys. The polls are up in the community section now as we speak. There's a few more to come out. Make sure you keep checking in. We want to get the fans' opinion on the half-year awards. Holy shit, there's a lot of wrestling. But we're going to be here for all of it, folks.
Yes.
We are the channel that watches more live wrestling than anybody else out there. And as you can tell, there's a whole shit ton going on. And if you just give it a chance, you might find some wrestling you actually like. Any other thoughts, gentlemen?
I'll be back with the TNA review this week, covering everything going down. Jordan Grace, her opponent. I think we got the number 1 contendership match tonight. So yeah, tune into that on Saturday. I'll be talking about all of that and NXT as well.
Sweet. One hologram on AEW. We don't know who it is yet. We'll leave it at that.
No, no, that's actually I've been halfway released. I gotta find. Give me 10 seconds. It's a Lucia. I'll fuck it. You can look it up. Look up bodyslam.net. It's a Lucia. I ain't got time. This man's, give me the hook.
Lucha. I don't know how to say our shit is real or shit is raw in Spanish.
You don't look at me to say that shit.
Anthony,
I struggle to say it in English, let alone fucking Spanish. But no, we're back at it like a jackrabbit tomorrow for another feel-good Friday night SmackDown. Absolutely. Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. Often imitated, never replicated, never duplicated. When you're talking about that wrestling, able to put that full life with it.
See you on the flip side. Come back tomorrow.